I became a healthcare assistant at Hilda Lewis House, which was down at the Bethnam Royal, and it was a unit for children with learning difficulties and severe behaviour problems. And they were starting the modular nursing course at the time, and one of the tutors came down, it was Joe Guttridge, and I agreed to go and be interviewed for training, and somehow I just turned up and there I was. I started my training. It was great fun. I really enjoyed my training. They were some of the best years of my life. I lived in Princess Marina House here, and a great bunch of people I trained with, and I'm still in touch with most of them. And we learnt a lot, and we were, I think, very privileged. And it was just great. I just really enjoyed all of it. That happened by accident as well, really. I worked over in Richmond, Twickenham and Roehampton, and they were looking to move all the clients back into the catchment area, because prior to that they were either in Tootingbeck Hospital or Longgrove, and they had to set up a team. So I volunteered. I started as a sister in the day hospital down in Putney and became a CPN. I did both at the same time, part of the time. And I just enjoyed it, really, so I stayed put. I can. One of them was in Lambeth only 5 years ago, maybe. There's a gentleman with dementia who didn't take kindly to people coming into his home. But I took this gentleman on, and I went and visited him, and my opening gambit to him was, "You share my birthday, or do I share yours?" And he's an Irish gentleman, and he said, "Oh, you're Irish?" I said, "Well, my husband is. My name's Flanagan." And we got on like a house on fire. And he declined over 3 months. He wasn't eating. He drank very little. And I had contacted Trinity Hospice to give his wife a break. And that's unheard of, really, for people with dementia. But they accepted him, and the ambulance driver came to pick him up and take him to Trinity, and I'd got there just in time. Went flying up the 14 floors, and he sat bolt upright in bed and said, "I am not going anywhere." And I said, "Okay, that's fine, stay here." And we managed to get the Macmillan nurses to come and help him so that his wife could get some sleep. She was exhausted. And he was very clearly not going to survive very much longer. And that particular evening, all his family were there. He recognised all of them, all of the grandchildren. They were singing Irish songs, and then he went to sleep that night, and basically he didn't wake up. So that was a good end for him. Good end for his family. They were happy. I have a really huge thing about people dying well. That's one of my, not an interest, but it's more of a passion, really. I can't bear the thought of people dying alone, in pain, people not recognising that someone's in pain and doing nothing about it. Anyone who knows me will know that one of the first things I'll ask is this person in pain? If they're lashing out, why they're lashing out. So, yeah.
Dying well, if there is such a thing, what does that mean?
To have somebody with them all the time, so that they're not alone, preferably family, with professionals helping out where necessary and looking after the family as well. Making sure they're not in pain, making sure that they've done everything they wanted to do, you know, sorting out their affairs, and that they're at peace. They're at peace with themselves. I don't know whether I've been successful or not, but I know what I'm doing. I know I can work with people and try and improve their lives, and that's all I really want to do. Whether they've got mental health problems or not is academic. It's and I like older people. I've looked after some amazing people whose life stories are just beyond belief. And actually getting to know people and to talk to them and to understand their lives has been a real, you know, I've been very privileged to do that. One of my patients was a gentleman who helped set up the NHS. And to hear his story was fantastic. I think I would probably call it something along the lines of, how on earth did I do that? And why? Because I seem to have kind of fallen into things all my life. I've taken pathways that have been obscure, to say the least, and without really knowing it, I've kind of drifted from one thing, all things I wanted to do, but I've gone about it in a fairly obscure way. Oh, crikey, that's a hard one. I love music, all sorts of music. I don't think I could come up with one single piece of music because I like so many pieces, and if I had to take one piece of music with me, I'd end up with nothing probably, because I wouldn't be able to decide.
Tell us your top 5 then, in terms of idea of some of those inspirational.
Okay, well, I love Bon Jovi and Bob Marley and certain classical pieces of music like the Moldar by Smetana. I like Usher, so I have quite diverse tastes.
You do indeed, though.
It's a toss-up between Barbados and New York.
Okay. Tell us why.
I took my daughter to New York for her 21st, and we had a fabulous week there, and it was -9 degrees. We walked for miles and miles and miles every day, but we had the most fantastic time. And Barbados, because I love it up by St. James, that's where I first learnt to scuba dive and went on to do the open water, so I'm a qualified diver, just about, because I love the sun. I suppose West Coast, but I love Barbados. There are. One of my favourite pictures is actually a canvas print that my daughter had done for me for Christmas, and it's at my son's 30th birthday surprise party, and it's just the three of us together, all smiling, which, you know, no mean feat. Yeah, that was great. And well, there's quite a few films I like too, and they're all a bit diverse.
Give us the best of list of there.
Okay, Letters to Juliet, which I don't suppose many people have heard of, which is fine.
What's that about?
Oh, it's about a young journalist who was in Italy and found a letter stuck in the wall underneath Romeo and Juliet's balcony, and they're all letters to Juliet, and there are people who answer these letters. And that she found a really old one of 50 years ago, and she wrote back to this one saying, "Follow your dream," and this lady found her lifelong love, and it's the journey to get there, which is really sweet. That's tricky. I think Nelson Mandela perhaps is one of the most inspiring people. You know, he lived his life in an amazing way, and you know, came out the other end on top, having been oppressed, and he did a lot of good.
It's amazing. How might you define that?
My reason for being, I suppose there's a few things I care passionately about. I love animals, and I care very much about the way people get treated. I can't bear injustice of any sort, and suppose my raison d'etre is to do the best I can.
Perfect. Thank you.